Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac Show. I said Cognac.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane, and welcome back to Cognac's Corner. In another moment, we will be watching another fabulous video. But first, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and always press the notification button to let you know when I will be publishing a new video. And also, darlings, don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about my videos and what other type of videos you'd like me to make. Let's get to the video. Pink champagne kisses. Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane, and we are here at the Bridgehampton Museum, and it's all about the cars. I'm here with this car enthusiast. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Peter Klebnikov, Secretary of the Bridgehampton Racing Heritage Group, based here in Bridgehampton. Our mission is to preserve the nearly 100-year history of motorsport in Bridgehampton, legendary track that participated in every big era of car racing, starting in 1915 until the late 90s. And so we got some good cars, we got lots of films. And
I see inside. What do you think about this museum?
they did a beautiful job restoring this historic Greek revival mansion. And
it's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's beautiful, and we're proud that this is the first ever permanent exhibit of racing at the Bridgehampton Museum, celebrating the unique legacy. So we got slot car races, we got films, we've got trophies, films, photographs, memorabilia, and it's all here for education and for fun for all generations.
Fabulous. Can we follow you on the internet? Do you have a website? Do you have a Instagram?
Yeah, we have a Bridgehampton Raceway Facebook page and the Bridgehampton Racing Heritage Group website, which has all the updates.
And your name?
My name is Peter Klebnikov again, and we're already planning the next exhibit, most likely dedicated to motorcycle racing at Bridgehampton.
Fabulous. Thank you, darling.
We look forward to that.
Yes, and we'll be back with more interviews. Keep watching. Pink Champagne Kisses. Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane. Keep watching. More celebrity interviews coming up right here at cognacscornermagazine.com. Pink Champagne Kisses.
Connor Flanagan. I'm the Executive Director here at the Bridg Hampton Museum. I want to thank you all for coming out for most of the day for some of you and just getting here for the others of you. We had a really great time today, and it's really fun to cap it off with this talk. So I want to turn things over to Susan, the Chairman of the Bridgehampton Racing Heritage Group.
Well, I'm just going to say a few words, like welcome everybody. Thank you to the museum to put on this great exhibit. We've been looking for a long time to exhibit some of our wares, and we're so proud of the Bridgehampton racetrack. We are the Bridgehampton Racing Heritage Group. Okay. We've been working on this for over 20 years. We used to be Save the Bridge, now Friends of the Bridge, and now we're preserving the history. We have, and Long Island has a lot of history on racing. So, without further ado, also want to say that thank Bobby Brown and Herb Wetanson for coming, and I'm going to turn this over to the Secretary, Peter Klebnikov.
So imagine you're like 10 or 12 years old and an event happens, it's happened to many of us, where the world suddenly kind of shifts on its axis and there's something delightful that happens. For many of us, for my cousin John there and the friends of ours, that moment came when we were sitting in the bleachers at Bridgehampton, and suddenly the first thing you feel is the chairs start to shake in the bleachers. And then you see the wing approach over the hill, and then you see the wall of sound, the thunder of a 427 Chevy, and a McLaren Can-Am car comes by 200 miles an hour, a few feet from you. That's the way it was at Bridgehampton back in the day, and those who experienced it were lucky to have it. And we thank you so much for coming and sharing in the history of the legacy of Bridgehampton. The fact that it was a world famous track is even more amazing because it almost didn't happen at all. A group of like local merchants and mechanics joined forces with Wall Street investors in a kind of partnership that's hard to imagine nowadays to create a track that's second to none in the world. And they achieved it. So I want to thank everybody, Andy Morris with an amazing slot car track. We talk and he races. Of course, these amazing people here, and Connor and Tim, whose vision and foresight made this exhibit possible. So welcome to the first ever permanent exhibit of racing in Bridgehampton.
Great, wonderful.
Welcome back, darlings. We're here at the Bridgehampton Museum for the car racing, for the car show, and I'm here with a car enthusiast. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Ernie. I'm a model car racer now. I've been doing it since 1960.
Why do you love the cars so much?
Because I love cars. I used to race real cars back in the 70s. Now I race model cars. I continue to race them. No place and no money to race real cars anymore. So I came here. A friend of mine invited me out. I live in Suffolk County.
Me too.
We had a lot of fun.
What do you think of this
We have
museum?
the model racing. We have the model raceway inside.
Oh, fabulous.
Running that.
What do you think of this museum?
It's very nice. The first time I've been here, actually. I've been out here a few times, but not to this specific place. It's very nice. I'm enjoying the whole day.
Well, we are too. My cars are enthusiasts as well. Well, thank you so much. Let's do an air kiss. We'll be back in a moment, darlings. More interviews right here at the Bridgehampton Museum. Pink champagne kisses.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that put this together. Tim, Connor, Susan, Peter. I think this is amazing that we have a place now that we can come to and reminisce and see how racing really was back in the day. And Peter asked the question, what was your first impression? Well, in 1961, I was driving a Corvette. And when I left the pits, I thought I was driving off the end of the earth.
Might we have a mic? Just for those in the back. Thank you so much.
It should be on.
It's on? It's on now?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
No.
Okay, anyway, it was very daunting for someone who had never driven a track like this before. It was interesting in the fact that you were totally consumed only by the track and nothing around it, which was good, because there were no guardrails back then. There was no safety, there were no real runoff areas other than the sand traps that were at the bottom of the hill and other areas of the track. So it was quite an experience to experience something like that as a young man, and just getting out into a track that was one of the world's famous tracks. There's no question about it. Herb and I probably didn't know how important and how famous this track was until really the Can-Am guys came. Bruce McLaren, Jim Hall, Denny Holm, Mario Andretti, and guys like that came here, and they all loved the track. And of course, it was daunting to everybody that had never driven there before. I'd like to thank Herb for his dissertation about our love of the sport. I've been involved in it all these years. I still drive. I still do a few races a year. And it is truly an addiction. It's been my drug of preference since 1960 when I first started.
What about, tell us a little bit about the cars of the day. You know, nowadays computers control race cars, essentially. It's a lot less hard for the driver. When you were racing, the cars were overpowered, brakes were a sometime thing. You know, the aerodynamics, nobody knew what aerodynamics were until Jim Hall and his Chaparral wing cars came. What was it like to drive one of these cars that, you know, really the chassis was flexible, and Bobby, maybe you drove a Lola. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, I drove a Lola at the track in 1966 in the second Can-Am that was ever run. The first one was at Central V. And of course, as Peter mentioned, we didn't have any electronics in the cars whatsoever other than the ignition. And that was it.
Spark plugs.
And spark plugs. There you go.
But what was it like to drive?
To drive the car, the cars were very loose. They moved around a lot, and the smart guys were able to put spoilers in the front and rear. That's Herb would attest to, I'm sure, that we didn't know anything about aerodynamics. Jim Hall started a lot with his wing car, obviously, and when he first showed up here, I saw him outside Ridgely's. By the way, how many of you people here remember Ridgely's Steakhouse? Oh, good. So some of you have actually been here in the early 60s. Yes?
And 50s.
It's now Callista next to the hardware store in Waterville.
Yeah, anyway, when we saw that car, it was amazing. It really was to see the thing flip up, going down into turn one, and then straighten out as it come into the straight, the wing I'm talking about. So we learned a lot about aerodynamics. Actually, we didn't know what we were doing. But
It looked good.
I remember in 1968 putting a little spoiler, a little wing on the back of my Formula 5000 car with a little lip on it, and I thought I was, really doing something. I don't know whether I did or I didn't, but the year after that, I was driving a high wing Eagle. So the aerodynamics were in its infancy back in those days, and there was a lot to learn.
Yeah, do you need mics, or you guys have good voices? Yeah.
What do you want to?
Anybody who wants to. Go ahead.
In 1957, I heard through the car grapevine, because I was running gymkhanas and a hill climb, and I began like most kids in the suburbs, you know, going to small clubs, and gymkhanas was something in and out the pylons in a shopping center. So that to me was the start of racing, and I was only a teenager, so I didn't expect much more. But your appetite gets whet by looking at the weekends and looking at the magazines, and you say, gee, there's more to racing or cars than gymkhanas. So you start to dream that maybe you'll get a car and maybe you'll go racing. It's usually a dream for 99% of the people. But these two nuts sitting here, we got caught up in the attic phase where we loved it so, and we were so intimate with it. It was like being intimate with a woman. It was too involved and too ownership. It was really, it got to own you.
That and hurricanes and other factors combined to make the last professional race in 1970. I did want to talk a little bit about the track, Herb and Bobby. What was the best and the worst of Bridgehampton? Did you ever go off the track, and how did that feel?
Bridgehampton was probably, we were too stupid then to know how dangerous this track was. Because there were no guardrails, as Bobby pointed out. There was sand.
That was the worst.
Everywhere you made a move, if you made a mistake and you were sideways, you could be dead. And there were guys, beautiful young guys, who were killed out there because they went off the track at an inopportune time and place. They went sideways, they flipped and rolled and broke their necks or were killed. And it happened in front of Bobby and I a couple of times out there. It was a very dangerous foreboding place. And we, being young and stupid, didn't know any better. We loved it still. It was a bad girl turned loose.
That was good. That's a good analogy.
Challenging, very challenging.
What do you think about that, Bob? The best and worst, and if you ever went off the track.
Well, the best of it was the traction. The macadamine was made partially with ground up oyster shells. And because of it, the traction with the tires was really, really good. That was probably the best of it. Of course, the fact that so many important international drivers came to race here was, looking back on it, was really an important thing. And of course, in those days, we didn't think, we were just, Herb and I were just doing what we could do, getting our cars and going and driving. The worst of it, I totally agree with Herb 1,000%. The sand was brutal. And sometimes on that back stretch coming up out of Echo Valley, if the wind was blowing right, you'd go by one time and everything's fine. Next time there's a bunch of sand, and of course I don't have to tell you what that happens when you're driving a car. You're sideways quick, like Herb said. But all in all, Bridgehampton was just an exciting, incredible place. I mean, the camaraderie. I mentioned Ridgely's Steakhouse. That was as much of a race to get there as the races to get a good seat, because the place was always full, as you know.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane. We're here in Bridgehampton at the Bridgehampton House. It is a fabulous museum, and today they're having a very special Bridgehampton race car show. And I'm here with this gentleman who built this raceway. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Tell us about this raceway this little model raceway that we're looking at.
Well, racing was very popular for the big cars, and not everybody can have a big car to race at home, so we have little cars to race, and they're called AFX racing. And it was a very popular hobby in the 1960s and 70s, and it's making a comeback. And we're going to have a exhibition here, and they're going to have slot racing, and everybody's having a ball. Look at the people who are having fun on the track right now.
I see. My husband, he just loves this. He's inside watching the video. So this is spectacular. What is your name again?
Andy Morris.
Andy
Morris.
Morris?
Correct.
Fabulous.
And what I'm doing is I'm building tracks. I construct these tracks, and I do installations at homes.
Gorgeous. Is there can we follow you? Do you have a website? Do you have a company?
I'm on an Instagram, Race Hampton. Here's my card.
Fabulous. Okay. Andy, let's do an air kiss, darling. We'll be back with more interviews right here in the Hamptons. Pink champagne kisses.
When racing on the streets was outlawed in 1953, a few die-hard Long Islanders set out to build a race circuit second to none in the world. Soon, 3 miles of twisting and plunging trails had emerged from the rugged glacial woodlots at Noyac. This also revealed splendid views of the Peconic estuaries with the Connecticut coast beyond. Second to none in the world, indeed. In 1957, SCCA brought their national championship races to the circuit for the grand opening of the brand new Bridgehampton Road Races Center. Daniel Stanfill also brought his Austin Healey race car with an ulterior motive. He had a miniature camera lens mounted under his rearview mirror, and he also had an Austin truck motor under the hood. If you've known the bridge at speed, you're now in for an emotional jolt. Stanfill's camera car is 222 in the second row, and the black Arnold Bristol 95 with aerodynamic adjustment is his mentor, Leo Rizzo. As the grid is off toward flag stations 2 and 3, only sky and treetops are visible before the track drops out of sight and Daniel finally remembers to turn on the camera for a quick lap at the bridge. The in-car filming took place during 2 days of racing on the new circuit. Notice Daniel's overtaking of Leo and others in this lap sequence. He will also chase down some of the faster racing groups, offering us a rare taste of the ballet-like grace often seen in wheel-to-wheel competitions. The bridge attained international status in 1960 and is still remembered around the world. The Bridge Golf Course has retained the racetrack landforms, colors, and terrains of the Noyac woodlots. Racers are welcome to walk the track down the long straight that terminates so dramatically under the Chevron Bridge, itself a World War II artifact. The clubhouse pays homage to the ghosts of 40 years of racing at the Bridgehampton Road Races Center, with a virtual museum of automotive art, and now it has a priceless record of the very outset thanks to Daniel Stanfill. The McLaren plaque, long missing with the flagpole in the paddock, has recently come home anonymously and is now under lock and key until a new flagpole can provide a proper mounting. To do something well is so worthwhile that to die trying to do it better cannot be foolhardy. It would be a waste of life to do nothing with one's ability, for I feel that life is measured in achievement, not in years alone. Bruce McLaren, 1937 to 1970.
We'll be back with more interviews right here in the Hamptons. Pink Champagne Kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Fardell. Well, now it's time for the Cognac show. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm a bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed to impress. One of a kind girl. I was brought into this world wrapped up in pearls. I love to mingle, though my husband reminds me I'm not single. I meet and greet both the famous and the elite. I ride in limousines, drinking the finest champagne, wearing furs, dazzling diamond jewelry. A girl can't complain. I live the upscale life, dining in the finest restaurants, eating the best caviar for free. And no matter how much I into cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh.
It's been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.